Wife, 27F, of 7 years gets abusive to me, 31M, after getting a nosebleed. Me 31M her 27F been married 7 years no kids. I've been having a hard time lately trying to figure out what I want to do with my marriage. I'm fairly sure it's unhealthy and mildly abusive but not sure I should get a divorce or stick with it and hope it gets better and or never happens again. Things haven't ever been great but they haven't pushed me this far before. Bear with me till the end. I know it sounds ridiculous. So a few weeks ago my wife and I were out walking and spending time together talking. Then she tripped, I reached my arm out, at chest height and she slammed her nose right into my arm. I immediately apologized and asked if she was all right. She was mostly okay and only had about a drop of blood come out of her nose, total, very minor. She starts to freak out. Panicking. She had previously had a nose job and was terrified that her nose was broken and she would need surgery again. We immediately returned home and checked on her nose. The whole time I am trying to calm her down and say we can fix this if she really needs to have it redone. I was okay paying for the surgery and I told her as much at the time but she is in full-blown panic mode. She then demands $5,000 right this second so she can fly to her original plastic surgeon and fix it. By this point we are back home and looking at her nose and her nose looks perfectly normal and hasn't had any more blood since the moment it happened. I tell her I don't have the cash for it at the moment but we can put her surgery on the credit cards. The second I told her I didn't have the cash to hand over right this second she then decided that it wasn't an accident and that I actually beat her, and that if I didn't pay up she would get the police involved. Keep in mind that this is my wife of 7 years saying that if I don't send her thousands of dollars right now she was going to call the cops on me. I then told her I don't have that much but I sent her $2,000 just to show her that I was serious about making sure she could get it fixed if needed. She then starts calling her family and messaging her surgeon and trying to book a flight. Her surgeon got back to her pretty quick and said not to worry about it unless she was in a serious car accident and that anything she was seeing was likely just a bit of swelling and would be gone in a day or two. The whole time she's talking with people she's crying and doesn't want me near her. Verbally she's berating me, telling me about how worthless I am and how I abused her and she's going to make me pay. I'm just in shock. 10 minutes ago we were holding hands talking and out for a walk, and now this. And now's where the real fun starts. She's sitting there and looking at herself in her phone and she finds a bump on the bottom side of her nose, no bigger than a small pimple, and she just starts screaming, for like 45 seconds straight. She then screams, "Let me die. Let me die," and runs to the kitchen and puts a knife to her wrist. I of course followed her to the kitchen and grabbed her wrists and stopped her. She proceeded to thrash around trying to cut herself or me, saying things like, "Let me die," and, "Let me do it." After a few seconds of struggling she dropped the knife nearly on my foot and I started moving her away from the kitchen. She's flailing and screaming and we fall to the floor where she proceeds to grab anything in reach and hit me with it. I pin her down and get her in a one-handed headlock with her on top of me and hold her arms back with the other until she stops hitting me, at which point I let her go and she gets off of me. She's extremely angry at me and honestly I'm not totally sure why. She's telling me I'm worthless and a failure and about how she's going to report me for abuse and I'm going to lose everything I care about. She then tells me about how she's going to dispose of my animals. I have a cat and a bird that are mine, that she doesn't like very much, that I love. She tells me about how I go on a lot of business trips and one day they will just go missing, and she won't have any idea where they went. I tell her I'm not going to sit here and listen to her poison and leave the living room and go to another room. Telling her that she needs to cool down and she will feel better when she does. She tries to follow but I tell her a few more times to cool down and she finally leaves me alone for a few minutes. After about half an hour I go check on her and she's mostly calm. She told me it's not fair I got to hurt her and she should get to hurt me. I was flabbergasted. She said I hurt her and it's only fair she gets to hurt me. I of course refused and she threatened to call the police again and tell them about how I hurt her and show them her slightly bruised wrists as evidence and get me sent to jail. That's when I started to get scared. I know I didn't do anything wrong, but in her words, "Who will they believe, you or a cute innocent little girl with brushes?" Knowing the optics I asked what she wanted. With a Harley Quinn smile she started with, "Let me stab you with a knife." I was like, fuck no. Then she said fine, maybe just a little cut. I still said no and pouted. She seriously pouted like I took away a toy from a child. She begrudgingly said fine, at least let me slap you. I know I wasn't getting out of here scot-free so I agreed. I told her I don't think I deserve this, but if it will really make you feel better you can slam me once. And then I asked her if she agrees that this will make us even. She agrees, and slaps me 3 times. Then with a big smile she then said I don't think that hurt enough, it doesn't count. She then decided that she wanted to use her nails to make me bleed and proceeded to claw both of my arms, leaving claw marks down both sides. And drawing blood in a few spots. I'm really getting angry at this point, but she's still not satisfied. I try to leave anyway. And go for a drive. To cool down. I'm really angry now that she would do this sort of thing and exploit me like this, and that she would even want to. It bothers me to know that any of that brings her joy. When I'm out I call my parents and tell them about what happened, and they're just like, what the fuck did I just hear? None of that sounds real. And honestly I agree, it sounds crazy to me too. I just told them that I just needed to vent and time to process what happened. When I got back to the house she had calmed down a bit more and asked to see my arm she had scratched. Most of the marks had faded and that upset her, and she felt we were no longer even again. I was getting really angry at this point. She then proceeded to start pulling my arm hair out one by one. And I know it's kinda pathetic, but that hurt more than anything else she did. And she saw that I was in pain and was giggling and enjoying herself. I yelled at her and told her to stop, and she said fine, and I stormed off again. And guess what she wanted to do 10 minutes later? That's right, rip out more hair. That was when I had enough and said I'm done and locked myself in the guest bedroom for the night. I was seeing red. I was so angry and hurt. The next day I contacted a lawyer. However, I decided I wanted to cool down before starting the paperwork. I know this was extremely over the line, but I was worried about throwing away 7 years of marriage for one bad night. How likely is it that this or something similar will happen again? Am I just delaying things? Too long did not read. Wife of 7 years gets abusive and threatens my pets after getting a nosebleed. Edit added paragraph breaks. I hope this is fake, but if not, this is abuse. She needs to get serious mental health treatment on account of attempting to take her life in such an abusive way. You need to get you and your pets out of her way ASAP. Take photographic evidence of the abuse she's done and go to the police. You do not deserve to be treated this way. No one does. Wow. Either she's going to end up killing you, or you'll end up in prison. Just a heads up. Get some cameras and get her out. She sounds like she's having a mental breakdown. You are in danger. Get the divorce papers started, and a restraining order. Time to leave, she sounds psychotic. My 30M, GF, 30F. Spends a lot of time with her recently single boss, 53M. Am I being insecure? I started dating my girlfriend about a year ago after having a close friendship. She became available after a breakup with her long-term boyfriend, and she actually approached me about being together. Though we live close-ish, there's about a 4-hour distance between us, and this prevents us from spending as much time as I'd like together. This isn't my first distance relationship, but it's the first one where she's close enough to drive to. She also has a special needs child and doesn't feel like it's the right time to introduce me to him as her boyfriend, as he's going through a hard time due to some family changes. She works front desk at a clinic and doesn't get very many vacation days, so we can't visit often and I can't really stay the night. Her and her boss have gotten pretty close in the time since her breakup. They've always been friendly, but it's noticeably changed in the past few weeks. He has something at his home that her autistic child absolutely loves, saying what it is makes this post too easy to identify, and regularly wants to go and spend time over there. She's also been going out more and he's always there. She doesn't actively hide the fact that he's there with her, but she also doesn't volunteer that information. I usually have to make an inquiry which she'll confirm. She'll drop over for lunch to help feed his dogs and take care of his elderly cat, for example. She'll say, "I'm taking my son out to go the park," and eventually after a little light prying I'll found out that he was there, too. Again, she's not actively hiding it, and she'll openly state he was there too, but only after I ask. Every time she goes to buy groceries, he's with her. Every time she goes out to a park or festival or a concert, he's with her. If I were to estimate, he sees her at least 6 days of the week, even though he manages multiple clinics and visits her office maybe twice a week. They text constantly. When we spend time together FaceTiming, she'll be getting messages, reading them, smiling, and replying. I can't say for sure that it's him when she smiles, as I know she texts her family a lot too. It's just a hard feeling to shake when dealing with everything else. I have a pretty bad issue with jealousy. I've been cheated on before, and I don't want this guilt to affect our relationship. She's sworn to me that she doesn't catch feelings for other people like that. But it's hard to swallow that fact when I don't hear from her for a while when she's out. I want to actively communicate with her that this is affecting me, but I want to ask for a sanity check before I do. Is it normal for someone to be spending this much time with their boss outside of work? Is it unreasonable for me to worry about how much time they spend together and how often they see each other? She offhandedly expressed she's his type once, before we were together. She hasn't brought that up or mentioned it since, though. I wasn't sure where to put this in and still tell my biased version of events. Sounds like she is dating him. She has no respect for you. You're the side piece. She has every qualm with you interacting with her son but zero qualms with her son interacting with her boss. Break up. I feel like it was a red flag from the beginning that she seeked you out after her and her ex broke up, and you both had a similar friendship? Sounds like she has a habit of picking back burners. Bro, she clearly fucking that guy. Time to move on. You can check her phone, put a tracker on the car, but I'm sure your gut already feels it. That's why you're here. The telling part to me is that she won't let you get involved with her son but he's constantly seeing him. She is making him the father figure to her son. Do you really think things will get better and she will swap father figures on her child? He's the main man in her life and you're the other man. Want to find out for sure? Tell her you are going to be able to move to her area and that you two should live together. If she gets nervous and comes up with a bunch of stupid excuses, you'll know what's what. I, 42F, found out he's 32M, married and want to tell his wife. We met in 2021 through a dating app. We were both looking for something casual but ongoing, so we defined our relationship as friends with benefits. We got along so well from the start and the sex was out of this world, possibly the best, for both of us. I was transparent from the beginning that I was separated and going through a long and ugly divorce. He said he didn't care and stressed that we are friends first no matter what, so I should ask for help if I needed it. We met once or twice a month during the week in my place. We would hang out, eat, cuddle, and talk all day. He always wore an old bracelet that said, "Daddy," and he said it was gifted to him as a joke whenever I asked him about it. At this point, you might be thinking, how did you not know for almost 2 years? But I am just the type of person that will believe everyone until they give me a reason not to. We did take little breaks when he went abroad for a project and when I was seeing someone. But we always kept in touch and checked in on each other. One day, out of nowhere, I just felt like something was off and that he could be married. Nothing happened, and I didn't find out anything. It was purely a sixth sense revelation I had out of the blue. And this is when I texted him. Start text. Me. This could sound like a strange question, but are you married? Him. Well, you're right. Why do you ask? You're not going to propose to me? See no evil. Me. When did you get married? Kids? Him. A long time ago. I should have told you, I'm sorry. Me. What about children? Him. 1. When I started talking to you I was so cripplingly lonely. We hit it off so well and I've always enjoyed spending time with you. But I completely understand if you don't want to see me again. Me. I've told you from day one that I only need one thing, for you to be single. You've had multiple chances to tell me the truth but chose not to. You made me into that woman. Not cool. I don't have time for liars. How low do you have to be to lie about your own child? I feel sorry for you and your family. Don't contact me again. End text. And he never replied to my last message, as I said don't contact me again. As context, I was going through a divorce when I met him, as my husband cheated on me. He knew how much I hated cheating, and I reminded him of that again in my last message. The problem is that I am haunted by this experience and I cannot stop thinking about it. I want to confront him and tell his wife about it as I cannot believe he did to his wife what my ex-husband did to me. Is it a bad idea? Nah, his wife deserves to know just like you deserve to know. There could be others, he could be putting his wife's health at risk if he's not using protection. She's being betrayed every day, you should absolutely tell her. Absolutely tell his wife. No, it's not. You should compile the evidence you have and give it to his wife. She deserves to know so that she can make an informed decision about their relationship. Also, there's always the chance you were not the only person he turned into, that woman, so health checks all around. I'd absolutely tell her. Please give her agency to make her own decisions. I'd want to know. You'd want to know. I think you should tell his wife. I'd want to know if my husband was having sex with other people. I can't imagine how many lies he's told to stay out while she cares for the home and their child, Ren. He's probably made her feel crazy so many times for being suspicious or asking questions about who he's talking to or where he's been. He probably has other partners as well that you're not even aware of. He sounds like a serial cheater and she should at least know for her mental and physical health. I, 39M, caught my wife, 31F, cheating. Where do I go from here? So we've been married for 7 years now, we have a 5-year-old and 1-year-old. A few months ago I found a video on my wife's friend's social media of her, dancing, with another guy. They weren't doing the hokey pokey, but the grinding her ass on his junk type. I confronted her about it, she said to her it was just dancing and didn't mean anything. Her friend had started recording so they all started dancing and she got caught up in the moment. She apologized and said it wouldn't happen again so I moved on. Flash forward to last night. I went on her IG messages while she was at work. Snooping is bad I know, but I've always had a gut feeling that something wasn't right. So I catch a conversation she was having with the same guy. It's only a partial conversation since she apparently deletes the messages as she talks to him. I just happened to time it right to find it. Anyway, it goes like this. Him. Sounds like you need some soon lol. Her. Haha maybe. But we're going to the Ivory Coast in 2 weeks pensive face. This is where she is from and it's our first trip there since we've been together. Him. Just maybe huh? Lol when do you leave? Her. The 28th. Looks like maybe I could sit on it too yuck just maybe yuck. Him. Oh that's a little min away. And just maybe huh? Face with monocle lol. It got deleted after that. So, this is obviously a conversation between the two of them to hook up before we leave on the trip. I confronted her this morning. First she said they were just joking. Then she said they were talking about her having sex with me before we left since we were taking 2 small kids and wouldn't have a private room. She keeps denying she ever cheated on me. Started crying and all. But I'm like, there is absolutely no way they weren't talking about hooking up. And to change the story like they were talking about me is such a bad lie. What man would be talking like that with a married woman about her banging her husband? Also, we live together so it's not like we couldn't have sex anytime we wanted. The conversation they had was clearly about trying to find time to hook up. That doesn't apply to me. I really want to believe her, but I just cannot wrap my head around what she's saying. She 100% cheated, right? There's no other plausible explanation, right? I love my family more than anything and I don't want to not see my children every day with split custody. But I could never trust her again. Where do I go from here? Cancel the trip, or at least your tickets. 100%. If there was nothing to hide, she wouldn't be deleting all of her messages with him. Even the dancing thing is incredibly disrespectful, emo. Another guy's junk should not be all over her ass. As a woman, I'd be mad as hell if a guy I'm with did that with another woman. She is 100% cheating. Loyal wife don't do what she did. There is no plausible explanation. She definitely cheating. File for divorce. You never take a cheater back. They lost respect for you and they will do it again. Do not reconcile. She hasn't even apologized for her behavior. She doesn't care. I, 39M, caught my wife, 31F, cheating. Where do I go from here? You go to your attorney and file for divorce. Never ignore red flags. Especially when they are the size of mountains, like the ones you're dealing with. I'm sorry to say, but whether it's 1 day or 1 year from now, this relationship is going to end. When a woman loses that much respect for you, that she's on some other guy's DK, it's over. Get in contact with a lawyer and see your options and potential outcomes.